In our world today, ancient secret societies are flourishing. Freemasonry is the largest, having over 5 million members worldwide, with over 7,000 lodges in the United Kingdom, encompassing over 300,000 members. The exact roots of Freemasonry are hard to trace. There are many theories surrounding their inception. The most common stems from the Knights Templar, who, when disbanded by the Pope in 1312, retreated to Scotland. With their surviving wealth, they bought into the local stonemasons guild. This was in order to keep their philosophy and rituals alive through the gentrification process from operative masons to speculative masons. This meant that they adopted the symbols of stonemasonry and applied their own meanings to them. The history of the Freemasons is generally separated into two time periods, before and after the formation of the Grand Lodge of England in 1717. After the formation of the Grand Lodge of England, the history of Freemasonry is extremely well documented and can be traced through the creation of hundreds of lodges that spread rapidly worldwide. In the past, Freemasons had a strong role in society and were key in building cathedrals and other such large-scale structures. Here are pictures of Freemasons laying the foundations of Truro Cathedral. Freemasons have been at the forefront of the modern Western society as far back as the first American president, George Washington. 30% of the signatories of the Declaration of Independence were also practicing Freemasons. Other luminary Masons include eminent scientists such as Alexander Fleming and Edward Jenner, as well as many 20th century presidents, including Franklin D. Roosevelt, George Bush, Bill Clinton, and Ronald Reagan. There has also been a distinct royal connection within the Freemasons. King George IV, King William IV, King Edward VII, King Edward VIII, and King George VI were all Freemasons. The current Grand Master of the Grand Lodge of England is His Royal Highness Prince Edward the Duke of Kent, cousin to the Queen. To aid in our understanding of Freemasonry, we asked a past master to explain his interpretation of modern Freemasonry.
Basically, we're a cross-section society that meet. We meet here once every month, excluding July and August and December. We do a lot for charity. This lodge does a lot in particular for charity, Briannic. We support Children's Hospice South West. We support the Mermaid Appeal. We support a lot of local charities. We visited the Children's Hospice South West and were given a tour and realised then where our money was going and what was actually being done with it. And it gives you a good feeling, you know, that you're actually doing something a bit worthwhile. There's nothing sinister about Freemasonry at all, nothing sinister about it. In fact, if you go to any hospice and ask them what they think about Freemasonry, they'll tell you a lot of them couldn't really survive without us. So yeah, we do a lot of work, and I think it is important, doing an important role in the world for our charity work, and also making us better people. Because I think sincerely, since I've joined, I've been a better person.
Freemasonry has a hierarchical structure of 3 degrees. They are Fellow Apprentice, Fellow Craft, and Master Mason. We asked Graham to explain them.
With the 3 degrees, it's the history, you're being taught the history of Freemasonry. So you've got the 1st degree, the 2nd degree, and the 3rd degree. I'd say it takes about 2 hours each meeting to do that, to try and condense that 6 hours into a simple explanation. It really is, I couldn't do that.
As previously stated, Freemasons use symbology to convey their beliefs and their ideals. The most generally used symbol is the square and compass. We asked Graham to explain symbols found within the Freemasonic lodges.
The square would actually teach you to regulate your life and actions appropriately. The compass would remind you to limit your desires, really, in all the stations of life. That's basically it. It's teaching you how to behave. Okay, there's nothing other than that, really, just teaching you how to behave in life.
We asked Graham, is Freemasonry just a charitable organisation, or is there more? Freemasonry has many critics, for example, religious organisations and conspiracy theorists. The foremost of these conspiracies involves a supposed desire for world control. This has been referred to as the New World Order. The dollar bill is often used by conspiracy theorists as proof of this. The capstone on the pyramid on the reverse of the $1 note is actually the all-seeing eye, as mentioned earlier by Graham. You can see that when the Star of David, strong Masonic symbol, is applied to the pyramid, each tip of the star points to a letter. these letters spell out Mason. This section of the dollar bill also directly states an involvement with the New World Order. The banners above and below the pyramid are written in Latin. They say, Anno Septus Novus Ordo Seclorum. This translates into English as, announcing the birth of the New World Order. The Great Seal, found opposite the pyramid on the dollar bill, is also packed full of symbology, including another representation of the Star of David, formed by 13 pentagrams above the head of the eagle. The street layout of Washington, D.C. shows signs of its Masonic roots. Laid out by Pierre-Charles L'Enfant, a French Mason, the city is a hub of Masonic activity and Masonic significance. It also includes the White House, Washington Monument, and Congress, the governmental center of the United States of America. Also located in Washington, D.C. is the 33rd degree Supreme Council. Although Graham earlier stated that there are only 3 degrees, he failed to mention the higher echelons of Masonry. Once a Mason reaches the 3rd degree, the Master Mason, he may progress into one of 2 further branches, Scottish Rite Masonry and York Rite Masonry. Our former Prime Minister, Tony Blair, is Order of the Knights of Malta, and 3 degrees away from being 33rd degree. York Rite Masonry includes 9 further levels. The Scottish Rite has 30 further degrees. Each time a Mason advances, the more knowledge is revealed to them. It is interesting to note that one former 33rd degree Mason, Aleister Crowley, was also the leader of the Satanic Church. Freemasonry is also linked to other secret societies. For instance, George Bush Sr. is a Freemason and was also a member of the Skull and Bones Society, also known as the Brotherhood of Death. This is an elite secret society at Yale University. His son, George W. Bush, is also a member, as was his 2005 election rival John Kerry. Skull and Bones continues a strict selection policy. It also uses similar rituals such as prostration in a coffin to Masonic symbols. Our research shows that Masonic rituals were based on an allegorical figure, Hiram Abiff. We asked Graham to explain who he was.
Hiram Abiff, looking at the history books, was the chief architect of building the Temple of King Solomon.
Hiram Abiff is mentioned in the Old Testament and was also sent to Solomon by the king of Tyre to build Solomon's temple. It's been suggested by some Masonic scholars that Hiram was actually an Egyptian monument builder. Hiram Abiff is essentially the Masonic version of a much older legend, that of Isis and Osiris, the basis of the Egyptian mysteries. Masonic secrecy and the level of knowledge to those outside of the society means that a full study into Freemasonry is virtually impossible. There is only one way to understand what the Freemasons are really about, and that would be to join.
Anyone who wanted to be a Mason, obviously we want to interview him first. He'd probably approach someone who he knew was a member of the lodge, but we would need to interview him at the committee meeting to make sure that he knew basically what he was committing to, and basically that we thought he would be a fit and proper person to join.
Perhaps the best way to understand this without joining would be to carry out in-depth research with dedicated funds and time. However,
there are scholars who research it full time.
Mm-hmm. And still don't know the answers.
No.
Who controls the British crown? Who keeps the metric system down? We do. We do. Who keeps Atlantis off the maps? Who keeps the Martians under wraps? We do. We do. Who holds back the electric car? Who makes Steve Gutenberg a star? We do. We do. Who robs Kate Fish of their sight? Who rigs every Oscar night? We do. We